Something absolutely explosive just happened in artificial intelligence that could completely reshape how AI companies operate in America forever. Anthropic, the company behind Claude AI, just filed a massive lawsuit against the US Department of Defense after being labeled a supply chain risk, a designation that's usually reserved for foreign enemies like China and Russia. But here's the jaw-dropping part. More than 30 employees from OpenAI and Google DeepMind, including Google's chief scientist Jeff Dean, just filed legal briefs supporting Anthropic in this fight against the Pentagon. These are competitors backing their rival. Let me break it all down for you right now. The Pentagon issued this supply chain risk designation after negotiations to update their contract with Anthropic broke down. Over two red lines that Anthropic refused to cross. They would not allow their AI to be used for mass surveillance of US citizens, and they would not allow it for autonomous weapons. The Pentagon wanted to use Anthropic's AI for all lawful purposes, but Anthropic refused. The Trump administration then ordered federal agencies and military contractors to halt business with Anthropic. This isn't just some contract dispute. According to Anthropic's CFO Krishna Rao, the government's actions could reduce Anthropic's 2026 revenue by multiple billions of dollars. We're talking about financial warfare using government policy as a weapon. But here's where this story gets absolutely fascinating. The Pentagon labeled Anthropic a supply chain risk after the AI firm refused to allow the Department of Defense to use its technology for mass surveillance of Americans. They also refused to allow it for autonomously firing weapons. Think about what this means. A company says, "We don't want our technology used to spy on American citizens or to kill people without human oversight." And the government's response is to treat them like a foreign enemy. US Pentagon officials admitted on record that the supply chain designation against Anthropic is ideological, with no evidence of supply chain risk. One official told Defense One the goal was to make sure they pay a price for refusing the Pentagon's demands to drop AI safety restrictions. They literally admitted this is punishment for not complying with their demands. The technical implications here are staggering. The supply chain risk designation bars Anthropic from working on military contracts and forces Pentagon contractors to remove Anthropic's Claude model from their systems if they want to continue working with the Department of Defense. But Anthropic's tools are already embedded in some Pentagon operations. Claude was the first AI model cleared for classified intelligence use and had been integrated into several systems. According to reports, the US military used Claude in an operation targeting Iran's leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, just hours after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced the designation. So they're using the AI system while simultaneously banning the company that created it. That's like firing your software engineer while still running his code in production. The business and financial implications are massive. The supply chain risk designation is usually given to firms associated with foreign adversaries, and it impacts how Anthropic can do business with companies working with the Defense Department. Under this classification, defense vendors and contractors must certify they do not utilize Anthropic's AI models in any work performed for the Pentagon. OpenAI struck a deal with the Pentagon just hours after the Trump administration's order. So while Anthropic gets blacklisted for having ethical red lines, OpenAI swoops in and signs the contract. But here's the crazy part. Many of the OpenAI and Google employees who signed the legal brief supporting Anthropic also signed open letters urging the DoD to withdraw the label and calling on the leaders of their companies to support Anthropic and refuse unilateral use of their AI systems. This creates a massive competitive advantage for companies willing to let the government use their AI without restrictions. If you want government contracts worth billions, you have to give the Pentagon unlimited access to your technology. That's the message being sent here. But the stock market is responding in interesting ways. Anthropic's Claude AI app surpassed OpenAI's ChatGPT in the iPhone's App Store for the first time the day after the Pentagon said it would terminate its contract with Anthropic. The company also said on March 5 that more than 1 million people are signing up for Claude every day. The ban might actually be helping them with regular consumers who see this as standing up for privacy rights. Now I'm curious, do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing? Should AI companies be able to set ethical boundaries on how their technology is used, or should national security always come first? Drop your take in the comments. I actually read every single one. And if you're finding this valuable, you know what to do. That subscribe button is right there, and it genuinely helps this channel keep bringing you these updates for free. For regular Americans, this affects you in 3 major ways. First, it sets the precedent that the government can financially destroy any tech company that doesn't comply with unlimited access demands. If they can do this to Anthropic, they can do it to any company. Second, it directly impacts your privacy. The Pentagon wanted unrestricted access to use AI for mass surveillance of US citizens. That's your data, your communications, your digital life. Third, It affects the job market, the financial services, retail and CPG, and healthcare and life sciences industries showed the strongest AI adoption and ROI results. Overall, 42% of respondents said optimizing AI workflows was the top spending priority in 2026, followed by 31% who said they'd spend on finding additional use cases. Companies are investing heavily in AI, but they need clarity on what's allowed. Imagine you're a healthcare company using Claude to help doctors diagnose patients faster. Suddenly, you can't use that AI anymore because it might be considered working with a banned company. Or you're a financial services firm using AI to detect fraud. Now you're forced to switch to a different system that may not work as well, but it's approved by the government. Let me tell you what I think happens next in the next 6 months to 1 year. First, this lawsuit is going to drag on and become a major test case for AI governance in America. The complaint argues President Trump's order punishes one named company without trial, which the US Constitution forbids. However, courts often defer to the executive branch on national security determinations. The case will test whether supply chain designations can be used for policy disagreements rather than security concerns, and whether executive orders can function as corporate punishment tools. Second, expect more AI companies to face similar pressure to choose between ethical boundaries and government contracts. This creates two different paths for AI development: companies that will do anything for government money, and companies that maintain ethical boundaries but risk financial punishment. Third, international competitors are going to use this against American AI companies. Why would any foreign government trust US AI companies when the US government can ban its own companies for not following orders? This could actually hurt American AI exports globally. Here's what you should do right now to stay ahead. First, if you're an investor, pay close attention to which AI companies are getting government contracts versus which ones are maintaining ethical boundaries. The revenue implications are massive. Second, if you work in tech or rely on AI tools for your business, have backup plans ready. Government policy changes can instantly disrupt your workflow. Third, follow this story closely because it's going to determine the future of AI governance in America. The AI revolution is happening whether we're ready or not, but the question is, who gets to control how that technology is used? Today's story shows us that the battle lines are being drawn between companies that prioritize safety and ethics versus unlimited government access. The outcome of this lawsuit could determine whether American AI develops with built-in safeguards, or whether it becomes a tool for unlimited surveillance and autonomous warfare. That's the real choice we're facing right now, and the next few months are going to be absolutely critical. Make sure you're subscribed because this story is far from over, and I'll be tracking every single development as it happens.